So wait for that. Okay, here it is. Ready? Welcome to Blerd Culture issue number 0! Where nerd is the new black. I'm Troy, and I'm joined by my two co-hosts, Ethan and Sean. Join us as we discuss the blerdiest topics on a bi-schmeekly basis, where you wanna...
Bi-schmeekly?
Yeah, like, I mean, because we don't have a time frame.
Is that like a word?
Okay, I guess one CPT, I guess.
Yeah. But
right.
Anyway, now before we get into this show, I'd like to give us all official intros, starting with Ethan.
Hello, everyone. I'm Ethan. I am a writer. I've written a comic book called Silencer, short films, a web show, and also have written commercials to pay the bills. Most of my opinions will be coming from a literary vantage point. I love storytelling, metaphors, symbolism, etc. I think this show is important just because I am an advocate for diversity in all of its forms, and the stories that are being told resonate with the audience and can shape our culture. I'm also a very big DC comic fanboy, so there's a slight bias, but I'm also very objective at the same time.
Hi guys, my name is Sean. You might hear me referred to as Humps sometimes by Troy. It's a reference to my last name. Don't worry about that. I'm a civil engineer. I'm a published author. I wrote a thesis about road rage when I was in grad school. I do a lot of graphic design work on the side. Ever since the mid-90s, my life has revolved around tech completely. At the age of 7, I taught my dad's entire office how to use Microsoft Word. I'm a big fan of K-pop, single-player RPGs, disaster movies, Rihanna. I've been a Marvel guy my whole life, but particularly X-Men, and I'm really excited to do this show because I think it's time to show people that nerd is not just one thing. Everyone can be a nerd in some way.
And I'm Troy, big-time Nintendo and DC Comics fan. Over the year, I've grown more appreciative of Marvel, so no beef there at all. I'm a musician. I produce on the side, well, full-time basically. And I've been a Blerd since I've heard the Power Rangers theme in my childhood. But yeah, I just wanted to say I appreciate everyone that's listening to the podcast today. I built this podcast mainly just to show that Blerds are cool, and if I was a kid, I would want to listen to this podcast to let me know that, hey, when I grow up, I can be a Blerd too. So, with that said, let's get to it with our first section, the Character Chronicles. Each week we're going to give a small bio on an important black character and the impact they've made in the medium, whether it be through TV, video games, or music, or cartoons, or comic books, doesn't matter. So, this week we will go into our lovely Black Panther, a.k.a. T'Challa, King of Wakanda. I initially thought his name was T'Challa, like T'Challa, or the T is silent, but that's another thing. His first appearance was in Fantastic Four, number 52, in July of 1966. He's the first black superhero in mainstream comics, and he had the first graphic novel done ever by Marvel. It was actually called Panther's Rage. Back in the days, Wesley Snipes was actually supposed to play him right after Demolition Man, but he obviously went and said, "I'd like to kill vampires more than be the King of Africa." Odd choice. Now we have Chadwick Boseman playing him. He was Jackie Robinson in 42, James Brown and Get On Up. It seems that he has a thing for being a string of iconic black characters, so it's cool to see him take up the mantle as Black Panther. Cool side notes about him: his whole suit is made of vibranium. He has the strength of a panther. Actually, in recent times, he's gathered the strength of all the previous Black Panthers. There's a very long history of these characters. He has a contingency plan against everyone in the Avengers, so if anyone goes crazy, he has a thing that'll just take him out. He's beaten Iron Man before, and on July 6, 2018, he will have his own movie directed by Ryan Coogler, who's recently famous for his fantastic movie, one of my favorites of last year, Creed. So definitely going to keep an eye on that. And there's Character Chronicle of the Week. Bow, 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 bow. Okay, now Planet Bugle, latest news and rumors in the nerdtainment industry, handed to us by Perry White.
I'm sorry, isn't it J. Jonah Jameson?
No, man, they had like some weird bet when they were.
I feel like this is DC bias. I don't know.
No, man. He would seriously I went and did my research on Wikipedia. Don't quote me. But they were like roommates at Howard University, and they said it was all good. They had a weird like handshake deal. They were Kappas. Anyhow, so first topic. Let's talk about that lovely Super Bowl, fellas. We had this crazy Super Bowl halftime show. All the trailers. The game was kind of.
I don't even know who
It was
played.
less than that. It was.
Wait, you said you didn't know who was in it?
I don't know who played. I don't know who won.
You didn't miss anything. It doesn't matter. It's
Yeah.
the most boring Super Bowl I've ever
It was the Orlando Blooms and and the Dallas Mavericks. I'm kidding. So it was black. It was like it was the Black Panther, the Carolina Panthers versus Denver Broncos. Broncos happened to beat them with the defense. So you know how exciting a defensive game is. And but let's not talk about this. Let's talk about the fun stuff.
Okay.
First, the Super Bowl commercial trailers. Did anyone see the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles one?
I did.
Yes.
And what y'all think of it?
I mean, I'll go and see it. I'm not like a crazy big fan of kind of the new iteration. I'm definitely on board for Stephen Amell, you know. But aside from that, I don't have like really strong feelings about it.
Okay.
I'm pretty excited about it. I was never the biggest Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fan. I was always into it in the same way that every other kid from the 90s was, but it was never that close to me. But the first movie that we had a couple of years ago, I thought was a lot of fun. It got a lot of flack for being what it was meant to be, which was just silly fun.
Michael Bay.
With giant humanoid turtles. I'm not sure exactly what else you want from that, but I got exactly what I was looking for, and I'm looking forward to more of that.
Exactly, more turtle power. I mean, I'm excited. I'm definitely gonna see it. I enjoyed the initial movie because I went into the movie thinking, hey, these are Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Please don't give me some crazy story about it. And when they were involved in the movie, it was a really good movie and idea. So I'm excited for the one. They didn't really show too much new footage that we hadn't seen, other than Krang. I can't not Krang. I just remember him when I played the video game. I thought he was really creepy. So it's cool to see them recognize him. But yeah, the other cool trailer I thought was the Jungle Book one. And it did this real cool like 3D thing. I don't know if you guys caught that, where they had the black screens at the bottom, and the animals seemed to jump out of the screen. Did y'all notice that?
I did.
I did catch that.
I thought that was dope. I've never seen that done before, so I thought that was really cool. But I'm looking forward to it. I'm glad there's music. It seems like there's going to be music in it because they didn't have it in the Cinderella remake, which kind of ticked me off because I'm a big Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo fan. But I mean,
Is it everyone?
I know, right? That's like top like 14 Disney
Top
songs.
100.
So,
Bippity boppity boo.
Yeah, I'm actually pretty excited for Jungle Book. Weirdly enough, and this is like kind of a weird comment, but like when I saw the first trailer, like it kind of scared me a little bit, which I kind of enjoyed because like I can see the most like visceral horror story and not be like affected, and yet I'm like this stuff is creeping me out. So I'm definitely excited to see it.
Yeah, I'm really happy with the tone that we're getting. It's not anything like what the cartoon movie was. I loved that movie, but this just looks like such a new experience I'm really excited about.
Exactly. And then yeah, like the cast is amazing. We got Shere Khan, which is the tiger, as Idris Elba. We got the Python as Scarlett Johansson. We got the Black Panther, which seems to be a recurring theme of the podcast,
It's gonna continue.
as the Godiva chocolate skin blessed Lupita Nyong'o. We have Christopher Walken as that monkey. I can't remember his name right now. And we don't have a white child actor playing as Mowgli. So hey, we did it, you guys.
You see that?
No appropriation there. Anyhow, so no, it was cool. So obviously the two big guns of the Super Bowl was the X-Men Apocalypse trailer. I know Sean has plenty to say about that, so go right ahead.
First of all, Psylocke, man. I mean, Psylocke is everything. The portrayal is perfect.
Are you staring at her now? Is why you can't talk?
Not at the moment.
Drilling on your keyboard.
I can. I can. No, Olivia Munn is the perfect casting. That couldn't be better. I'm really happy with how Apocalypse is looking. I was kind of nervous in the end of Days of Future Past, but they really pulled it off. It looks a lot better than I was expecting. Storm, who is just one of my favorite characters of all time. You will hear me talk about her
The '80s
soon.
Hawk, the '80s Mohawk. I love it.
Oh yes, the Uncanny X-Men Storm. That was actually my introduction to X-Men. That's my first ever comic book that I got from a gas station on the way to Virginia.
I was gonna say, if at any point she puts the jean vest on, I'm gonna cry in the movie.
No, I'm really looking forward to this movie. Every single trailer that we get from every single X-Men movie from this second effort at the X-Men movies, I'm nervous. Things always look slightly off especially in the production photos, but every time it's just turned out perfectly. We get some more Quicksilver, who had the single best scene in, to me, any superhero movie of all time.
Oh!
I don't care.
Whoa, man, hold up. I mean, I'll let you have that. Go ahead.
Listen, I'm X-Men biased, and I am not ashamed of that.
This is fine. Ethan, any thoughts?
Yeah, well, quickly on the Quicksilver thing, no pun intended, but yeah, when I went to go see Days of Future Past, I do have to say that that's the part that caught me the most off guard. I was like, wow, I genuinely like Quicksilver and this character and this actor. So I'm definitely glad to see that he's going to be a part of this new film. And kind of my one complaint, well, the one that I'm going to highlight of the previous Days of Future Past is that I wanted it to feel more like an ensemble, and it felt like they focused on, Wolverine, Magneto, Xavier, kind of like the main guys, and so I'm happy with this one, including Psylocke, Jean Grey, Sansa Stark, and the cast really has me on board for this one.
Yeah, I actually agree with that. That was the one issue I had with the last movie. It actually felt like a lot of individual stories rather than an X-Men story, which has always been about the team.
Okay, cool. Okay, and last but not least, probably the biggest trailer that everyone talked about of the movies was the Civil War trailer, which featured let's see, the new iPhone iWatch update with Stark changing it into a glove. Show the final teams and everything. Cool shot between another cool shot of my favorite shot of the trailer outside of obviously the obvious one was when Cap was kneeling down with the shield and Winter Soldier was above him, and then Iron Man. That looked really cool. Like if I was the director, that would look really cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I love that trailer. Was dope. It was cool to finally see the teams, and then Robert Downey Jr. Let me go on him right quick. There is no one else that could play Tony Stark.
Absolutely agree.
Period. The part when Winter Soldier shot him and he reacted like he really got shot, and then like his face is like, "Did you just shoot me?" I thought
he's brilliant.
Yeah. So no, I love the trailer. What do you guys think?
I'm mad that I got my Apple Watch 2 months before that one was announced because let me just tell you.
Wait for the update.
Iron Man's side has a huge advantage, but I'm super excited to see how they handle that. Because this is the Marvel Universe. Peak human strength in the Marvel Universe is a wildly different thing from everywhere else. So I'm not counting Captain America out. I'm not counting anybody out. I'm super excited.
Cool.
Yeah, with me, I actually have some pretty strong opinions for this film. The trailer was amazing. I think just in terms of like theater goers and just as fans in general, like there's a lot to look forward to. It has kind of the squad aspect, pick your squad. Visuals looked amazing. I think the reason why I kind of have like a strong opinion about this next Captain America Civil War movie is because probably of all the Marvel properties, Captain America actually speaks to me the most. Like if I were to actually go out and to get a series, that would be Captain America. Like how he related to me in my life was really like moving, and so my kind of issue with Civil War is that it feels so big. It's kind of like the antithesis of what I was talking about with the next X-Men film. I kind of like that the previous Captain America's focused on Captain America and his relationship with Bucky. And yes, the whole teams are like representative of art of that. It just feels almost like it's an Avengers film, which I'm great for, which is great for the Avengers movie. But for this, I kind of like it more condensed, more particular about focusing on Captain America. With that being said, it does look really amazing, and I think just taking that out of account, the previous things that I said, that this is probably going to be a really fantastic film.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I'm still just like Iron Man's team has 2 human flying tanks, the Vision and Black Panther. And obviously the best hand. Well, no. The I'll say maybe the third best hand-to-hand combatant in Black Widow. I seriously do not see how Falcon, Ant-Man, Hawkeye, Captain, and Winter Soldier. Like, to me, it's just like if I was Iron Man, I was like, let's just fly and shoot them.
Okay. All right. So 2 wild cards.
Okay.
Ant-Man, number 1. Has the potential to actually dismantle Iron Man and War Machine. We don't know whether or not that's going to happen.
Sure.
It is possible he does have that capability because, as we know, he gets very, very small, and he has figured out a way to shrink between the atoms, which is pretty huge.
Okay.
Then we have Scarlet Witch. She is a complete wild card. Nobody has any idea what she might do at any given time.
Sure.
She may or may not have complete control of her powers. That has varied throughout her history. She has the potential to, and has demonstrated the accidental ability to remove most of the mutant population from existence.
That's
and depending on which version of her we get, her power is actually reality manipulation. So she can flat out change reality to make it so that her team is not only stronger than the other team, but that the other team does not exist.
Oh, okay. Well, that's
so
that completely
that
closed
would
my
be
mind.
a little helpful.
Just a little.
Like I said, though, she doesn't really have very good control of her powers most of the time, and that could completely backfire.
Perfect. All right. Well, yeah. Okay. Well, thank you. Now, I apologize. I
retract my statement.
my statement. Thank you. That's why we have humps. That's why we have humps here for. Okay. So anyway, well, yeah. So that was the good for the trailers. Did you guys maybe want to expand on the halftime performance? Ethan, did you see it?
Oh yeah, I definitely saw it. It was a formation weekend for me. If you will.
Good call, sir.
Went to Red Lobster, kept hot sauce in my bag. Yeah, I mean the halftime show was great. I'll kind of do a play-by-play, but not talking about the plays. Coldplay, they are a very solid band. Just in my personal opinion, I'm more of a fan of their kind of earlier work. It was less like, they're not fully mainstream, but they do have kind of catchier songs now, and before it's more like depressing and moving, which I tend to prefer. Despite that, they're still a very solid band. Bruno Mars is a fantastic entertainer. Especially with his last song, Uptown Funk, with Mark Ronson. That was like a fantastic track. And then, of course, what everyone was waiting for, Queen Bee.
The queen of the world and the universe and life itself.
Yeah, she delivered. She killed it. I mean, I give credit where credit is due, and she did not disappoint at all. The choreography, the singing, all of it was amazing.
I'm just happy that there was a dance battle in the middle of Super Bowl 50.
Oh yeah,
that was awesome. Props to Bruno. He did his best as he could against a legion of Beyonce
right.
in the Agency, but no, they
it was like Scarlet Witch versus.
My favorite part of that entire performance was that not only did Beyonce almost fall, But Beyonce made Almost Falling look like it was just the greatest thing anyone had ever done.
The Beyonce bounce.
Yes, I read somewhere that somebody said Beyonce did not fall, the fall Beyonce'd, and I have to agree. The fall couldn't handle all of that, and it was like, nope, I'm gonna just let you have
Not today, Beyonce. I can't take this today, Beyonce.
But I think what really stood out and what everybody's been talking about is that Beyonce brought not just the Black Lives Matter movement, but the I am black and I love myself for being black, and there's something to be said about being black. And she brought that to the biggest stage in America, to all of middle America who cannot handle that kind of language, and she made every single one of them talk about it, whether or not it was positive or negative. People are talking about it, and that means that it matters.
Definitely. I mean, I think that there are very poignant lines that I definitely took to heart. You know, I love my Negro nose and Jackson 5 nostrils. You know, these are aspects of black culture which are not necessarily raised skyward in the mainstream arena. So for Beyonce, you know, arguably the world's biggest pop star in a sense, to celebrate this is a very powerful thing.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Thank you, brothers. Piss up. Okay.
Yeah, and also, sorry, one quick note for those who are kind of pissed off at Beyonce. There are many things to be pissed off at. If this is the one that you're choosing to rally against, I think that you need to reassess what pisses you off.
Woo!
I kind of wanted. Okay, so no, with the I will say the one thing that I will say of that I felt was weird was like people were offended by the message, and if you watch the video, the message is stop shooting us, right? for police brutality. So if you're not against police brutality, you want them to shoot us. That's the only thing that was weird. Like she didn't say anything crazy out the line. She was saying, "Hey, can you stop killing us?" And that was
say anything nobody hasn't already said. She just was the biggest person to say it.
So I definitely appreciative. Thank you, Bay God. Love you. All that stuff. Whatever. Please bless this podcast. So yeah, no, that was a good on all this Super Bowl news. So yeah, definitely, it was a good one. Well, for the most part, yeah.
So if we want to go into Flash news, in the upcoming DC Comics film, Ezra Miller plays Barry Allen, a forensic scientist who, after getting struck by lightning in his lab and covered in chemicals, can move at super speed with the use of the Speed Force, which he uses to protect Central City. So the Flash movie release date, it's been talked about that it's been moved up to mid-March. Which is really only like an extra like week prior, it's like from March 23rd to March 16th. But I kind of have a theory in regards to this, and that kind of Avengers Infinity War comes out like almost directly 2 months afterwards. So I feel like they're probably trying to get as much money as possible before Infinity War comes out. And also I would like to point out this is kind of one of the areas where you'll hear me be on Team DC a lot, but what has me the most kind of nervous is this Flash movie of all kind of the properties. I don't necessarily feel that this is fully necessary. I'm a huge fan of Ezra Miller as an actor. I'm so happy that he has this huge role. But I feel like with the show and then with this movie coming out and it both being Barry Allen, I'm kind of getting like Spider-Man withdrawals going on, where it's like, why is this necessary? Like I'd be more than fine of seeing him in the Justice League film, but to then say that he deserves a story, like what more are you going to tell?
An independent film. Here's my thing. I take this as sort of like one of the alternate universe situations. I don't know if that's the goal. That's how I take it. But I do feel like it's going to be slightly confusing that we're already actively having an origin story of Barry Allen. And we're getting another totally separate one with a separate actor who's going to play the character totally separately, which is great. I would love to see another portrayal of that character, but it just feels very soon.
Yeah, I mean, considering that it's the same type of origin, like they're going to keep the forensic scientist, the lightning strike Central City. It's Barry Allen and not like Wally West or anyone.
Hmm.
I'm just kind of confused about where they're going to go with it. That is going to be that different than the actual TV series.
Right.
Yeah, you're right. And I mean, like, I'm back and forth with it because, like, people say, yes, just cast Grant Gustin as this Flash, but I was for it, but then kind of looking back on it, okay, I think they were trying to be comparative to how Marvel does it with Agents of Shield, as
Mm-hmm.
well as Agent Carter. But they kind of, well, and actually also with Netflix, Daredevil, Jessica Jones, all being in the same universe. But they are very, very, like, it's not as connective as a fan you would want it to be or whatever. So there's references here and there, but we're never going to see any of these characters of the 4 TV shows in the movies at all. And it's kind of just like they have to ask Disney, like Oliver Stone asking for another thing of porridge, like, please,
More.
can we,
More.
can we please have Bucky in the, like they won't let it happen. So I'm honestly like I caught this interview with Zack Snyder and it said it's kind of the biggest thing about it is that it's cool that there's a separate TV universe and there's a separate movie universe because in comics you have a bunch of different writers write different stories for their characters, so they don't have to be trapped or guided with whatever events happen in Batman versus Superman in the show. And the other thing with TV shows is like they can get canceled immediately. Not that Flash is, because CW you literally only have to have 400 people watch your show for. But I see that like I see it's a balance. Like I like all in all, yes, Grant Gustin is an amazing Flash. I would love for him to appear in these movies in some way, shape, or form. But I'm okay with them having it separate. This is my opinion.
Yeah, here's the thing. Like, I'm not arguing for like Grant Gustin to play the cinematic universe Flash. I'm actually happy that it's separate. I feel like if they did do that, it's very restrictive. Also, the cinematic universe is a very kind of different feel from it. And it does feel like a separate world. And I'm actually more than content of having Legends of Tomorrow, Arrow, Supergirl, Flash be in this universe. It's giving me like the DC universe on a weekly basis that I'm more than happy with. Kind of my concern is kind of strictly about the storytelling aspect of the Flash and where they're going to go from it, just from that aspect of it. I felt like it would either be a good idea to like diverge completely from the comic books, which I'm not usually a fan of.
Okay.
But like honestly, the Flash feels like the most comic book related TV series that's on right now.
Sure, you're right.
And I mean, we still don't know where they are going with the Flash movie, but just from how they're telling it, it's not sounding any different than the Flash that we know.
Cool. Yeah,
And I have to say, speaking of the TV universe, for me, other than like Young Justice and maybe Teen Titans from a few years ago, I never really paid any attention to DC. Obviously, the Dark Knight series, but that's a separate thing. So the TV series has really opened my eyes to just the basic coolness of DC that is just so fundamentally different from Marvel, and it's just kind of nice to see. So I'm really glad that we have this TV universe, and I agree with you that, or at least what I think you're saying is that with the movie series, if we're going to do the same thing, then it just kind of feels unnecessary.
Exactly.
At this point.
It's kind of like my Spider-Man argument. Like I feel like I'm tired of Spider-Man, and I don't want to get that way with the Flash. Like it's one thing if they talked about using Miles Morales as the next Spider-Man in film, but it's Peter Parker again. So
Cool.
For the third time.
Yes. So yeah, no, that's good on the Flash news. Definitely cool. Check that out.
All right, next up, Ryan Reynolds wants to do an X-Force movie, which is fantastic. First of all, the Deadpool, before it was even released, it was already greenlit for a sequel, which just really speaks to the way that Ryan Reynolds is portraying this character. Wouldn't work without him. Anyway, so yes, Ryan Reynolds wants to do an X-Force movie, so just a quick synopsis of what the X-Force is. It's a superhero team, sort of similar to the X-Men. They have loose ties to them, but unlike the X-Men, whose ultimate goal is to be good and to do good without causing too much harm, the X-Force's modus operandi, if you will, is basically to accomplish what they need to unapologetically, as violently, as aggressively as they need to. Yes, their original, or not their original roster, but their well-known roster includes Deadpool, Psylocke, Archangel, Colossus, and their leader, Cable. Now, speaking of Cable, we recently found out that Deadpool 2 will include Cable in it. Now that we're getting Psylocke, Archangel in the upcoming X-Men movie, we have Colossus from Deadpool, and we're getting Cable. There's no reason in the world that an X-Force movie can't or shouldn't happen. It's been in purgatory for a while. They've wanted to do it. Ryan Reynolds completely reinvigorated the potential for that movie, and I have no doubt that it will happen.
And it was revealed that Harrison Ford will be Cable. I'm kidding. It's not. But how awesome would that be?
We're gonna have to talk about that another episode.
Yeah, another time. But yeah, no, cool. Yeah, they said I saw that it's on track to already make $130 million this weekend.
Oh yeah, it's way beyond their original expectations. Fox was expecting about 60 to 65 million this weekend. It already made 40, I think 43 yesterday.
Yes. Deadpool was like, psych!
So, yeah.
Gotcha. That's awesome. I mean, what little I know of Cable is actually from the old 90s X-Men cartoons. That's where, like, most of my kind of Marvel knowledge comes from, is from the TV universe. So I'm not too familiar with X-Force, but I'm definitely on board for a movie that would feature Ryan Reynolds' Deadpool, because he did do a fantastic job.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Yeah, definitely. So, okay, and in our sad news of the week, I guess. So it's not an official section, but it's definitely I don't know. It's cool, but I just wanted to speak shortly on WWE really quick. We had an amazing wrestler by the name of Daniel Bryan retire this week. He was 34. He's young in wrestling years. A lot of times wrestlers wait until like their late 30s, mid 40s to kind of time it out, because their body can't take all the pressure. As much as people say it's fake or whatever, yes, the outcomes are predetermined. It's a choreographed fight, like wrestling fight in between the film, but it's just like a TV show. It's like a regular TV show. But anyhow, the reason why it's so important why we speak about Daniel Bryan is because wrestling is hard to get into. Just as a wrestler himself, he started in like wrestling in parking lots where there was like 7 people watching, and now he headlined a WrestleMania where he performed in front of 70,000 people. And if you look at this man, if you were to see him on the street, you'd be like, "There's no way this man is a wrestler." He has a weird, ratty beard, long hair. He looks like he might be into like definitely some drugs, but he's not. He's a vegan. He was always positive, coolest guy ever, and he's just been through so much, man. Like, but even when he won his championship, his final championship belt that he should not have gotten, because if you look at this man on paper, he does not look like Triple H. He does not look like The Rock. He does not look like Stone Cold, John Cena. No, he's not tall. He's like my height, and I'm 6'4".
You are clean 5'9", just like me.
So technically, but no. Yeah, I remember like when he won the belt at WrestleMania. His father died the night before. His father, who he wanted him to see go through it, and he went and his father watched him when he was a kid wrestling at 13 all the way up until now, and he died before the biggest moment of his career. So shortly after that, he had issues with his neck, as wrestlers usually do, and then he kept running into this concussion issue, because over the span of his 13-year career, he's gotten like 11 concussions. So it was recently revealed last week that he couldn't do anymore, and he's married to actually one of the other female wrestlers on the show. He wanted to have kids and everything with her too. So you have to kind of take that into consideration. Would you rather be a vegetable all your life because you wanted to take one more spear? And his fighting style was very unconventional. He was like flying off ropes, doing kicks and landing on his back constantly. And that wrestling mat is not soft. It is not like just fall on the floor. Like if you have a carpet floor, just take a bump and fall on the floor. That's what it feels like. So, but I know. I mean, like for him, it was just cool to see. He was so new when he came out, and he was like he had a rocket on his back. He'd only been in WWE for like 3 years, and started from the bottom, all Drake, and got all the way up to where he is now. So it's a very inspiring story. If you guys can go, just like as a matter of fact, they have like a little interview that he did with ESPN. Go watch that. He's like, it'll really make you think like you can do anything. So I just want to say thank you, Daniel Bryan. And if we could all together, I'm just going to do a short yes chant because that was his thing. If you guys want to join in, that'd be cool. And here we go. Yes! 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 Thank you, Daniel Bryan. And that's all I wanted to say today.
I want to say something on that really quickly.
Right.
Football is a sport that we understand a whole lot better than professional wrestling. Over the past few years, a lot of focus has been put on the dangers of the concussions that these football players have been experiencing. And it's been just the biggest thing. It's been the biggest news story in football every year for at least the last 5 years. It's been extremely dangerous. It's led to a lot of loss of basic intelligence, basic ability to function. And I think that because of the reputation wrestling has for being pure entertainment and for being scripted, people are not realizing how real the athleticism is of it. And they're missing the fact that these guys are going through the same exact sorts of things, but not getting the same amount of attention. And I think the awareness needs to be raised there, because this is the reason that Daniel Bryan is retiring. This is the reason that wrestling is losing one of its probably favorite stars right now.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, that's a very important topic that I think should remain in the forefront of people's minds, and a lot of respect goes to Daniel Bryan retiring. It's a very inspiring story, despite it being sad. It's also one of perseverance, which I always appreciate.
Yes.
So I guess to segue into the final Batman vs Superman trailer.
Woo!
I died. This is where I freak out. Oh my god. Okay, where to start? Like, we got Batman interacting with Alfred. You could already see the chemistry and what type of Alfred this is.
Yeah.
And then that fight scene. It gave me life. It gave me everything. He like rock bottomed him.
Speaking of wrestling,
it was straight out of the Arkham series, the Arkham game series.
Yeah, totally. It was like I had my PlayStation controller and I was playing it. He punched a guy's head through the floorboards. It was amazing. And then also Wonder Woman, that line alone.
Yeah, thank you.
I don't think you've ever met a woman like me. Yes, Wonder Woman.
Can I say something that really quick?
Yeah.
All right. So my favorite thing about that is that like they waited to the third trailer to reveal her voice, because they people were so nervous that her accent was going to be as heavy as it was in the Fast and Furious series or whatever. But they had to. There was a process to hiring her. There were 6 other actresses that were up in the role, and they were like, "Hey, she knows what she's doing." And if there's anything I have trust in, anything at all, Zack Snyder knows his female leads.
Yeah.
He's great at picking out female actors, so he knew what he was doing. So I'm glad everyone can shut up now and notice how great our Princess Diana.
Yeah, I mean, Gal Gadot had such a presence. Like, to me, she was Wonder Woman before she even opened her mouth. Like, seeing her pop out of that shield and then, like, launch, it's like, you know that this is Wonder Woman. This isn't, just some random beautiful woman that they put in costume. Like, she feels like the real deal.
For me, Wonder Woman was always the chick from from Super Friends who fought Cheetah. And the show from like the 60s or whatever. Yes. Didn't know a thing about her. I knew that she had like an invisible jet back in the day, which was ridiculous but also hilarious. Excuse me. I also knew that more recently she became much more closer to Superman. I watched Justice League War.
Woo!
And I fell in love with Wonder Woman. She became one of my favorite DC characters. She is no joke. She is scary. She is likable. She is hilarious. Gal Gadot is perfect. I don't want to hear anybody complaining about the fact that she's skinny.
No.
Everyone references Linda Carter back in the day, that old TV show, how she wasn't skinny. Those people have not looked at any pictures of that woman. Her arms look like carrots. She was tiny. Gal Gadot looks like she could handle Superman, and it would not be a problem. I can't wait.
I completely agree. I mean, I think Wonder Woman is a very complex character. I love her in a way that's like very separate from Superman and Batman. I almost like kind of respect her more. Like she is a bona fide warrior. Like she will get her hands dirty because that's how she was raised to do. I think that Batman and Superman tend to have these crises of conscience. Whereas with her, she's very kind of straightforward in her actions, and she will do what has to be done without like shedding a tear over it. Because she knows that it's for the betterment of mankind.
And she has a likable personality. The other two just really don't.
Really, like you'd want to be around like her because she'd be fun, but like Clark would be like, let's follow the rules, and then Batman was like, vengeance, and then Wonder Woman was like, let's not. And yeah,
parents.
Where is he? So, okay, the last thing I will say about Gal too is that she did 2 years in the Syrian army, yo, mandatory years. So if you really had a problem with Gal, why don't you go say it to her face?
Yeah, I mean, like, she is a warrior essentially. It's like I got that immediately when I saw her.
Exactly. So.
And also, seeing the Trinity together. Sorry, in that first trailer, I screamed so loud. Like when I talked to Troy, my voice was out.
My mom was like clapping like at the end of a trailer. So like I knew it. But yeah, back to the other trailer. I mean, yes, that fight scene in the beginning was amazing. I'm also very, very happy that Alfred is actually doing stuff because they always make this old man dumb senile, like he can't do nothing.
Yes.
And
give advice.
Yeah, in the history of the comics, he's actually a boxer. He was an actor at one point. I remember, like back in the day, he was an actor. And yeah, like he was a spy. Yeah, and he was a spy. And they always got like Michael Caine and some other old man who can't do anything. So it was really cool to just see him actually being active.
He like lively, yeah.
Exactly. So, but yes, we have the countdown is real. We have 40 days until this movie comes out. Just wanted to point that out.
Counting them down. I don't know what I'm going to do on that date. Like, don't talk to me. Like, I don't know what I'm going to do.
I'm not gonna be able to sleep. There's no way, no how.
Yeah,
so.
I'll be like full eyes open.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to give a shout out to DC for having something that Marvel has just never had. The Trinity that Ethan mentioned before. Marvel is trying real hard with the Avengers to match that Trinity, and they just don't have it. DC is all about Superman, the Batman, and the Wonder Woman. And honestly, they are gods among men, and Marvel can't touch it. I have to admit.
Oh, go ahead, man. Go ahead.
And I don't even like Superman.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing that I try to like sink my teeth into Marvel. Like when the Marvel movies first came out, with Iron Man, Captain America, which really spoke to me, and I loved the first two films. What I was trying to get was that same sense from DC, and I never really quite got it. So I'm at least, I'm hopeful that Marvel can create sort of that same feel. I'm not that, adept at Marvel to say, oh, these three would be the Trinity, but I hope that they are able to come close.
I think Marvel's thing is more that they have so many iconic characters, so many iconic characters, whereas DC has the ones that everybody, whether you know anything about comics or not, knows.
Yeah,
you're right. And I will say I will say this. I mean, as great as the Trinity is, I will say thank you, Marvel, because without your legion of movies, like WB would have never taken the chance to make this thing an actual thing. So thank you, Marvel. I appreciate it. Now we get Suicide Squad, and which I still cannot believe is being made. I cannot believe.
Harley Quinn, I can't life today.
I don't understand how we live in a world where Deadpool is a movie and Suicide Squad is a movie. I can't.
Oh
no way.
I'm not questioning it. I'm just it's happening, and this is real.
It is what it is, and that's fine.
Yeah. Margot Robbie, living for it. Love it.
Yeah, all in all, best trailer of the three. Thank you. Oh my god, thank you, Zack Snyder God. Oh my god.
Yes, and thanks to Zack Snyder, because say what you will about him, he's getting this stuff done, so I legit don't care.
Thank you. So,
Oh yeah.
all right, cool. And yeah, so that wraps up our Planet Bugle news of the week. And yeah, pretty good. Thank you.
Alrighty, now for my section, tech, better than all things, including comic books, video games, TV, movies, all the things.
Okay.
As I said earlier, my life has and does revolve around tech. It's so exciting. There are so many cool things going on that nobody knows about. Of course, there are the phones and the tablets and the TVs and all that stuff. But there are so many other things that don't get as much attention that I really just want to bring some attention to. So that's what I want to do with this section,
Awesome.
mostly. And of course, I'll talk about the other things, the iPhone announcements and the Galaxy announcements and stuff like that too. But I really just want to get into the stuff that not many people know about.
Nerd.
Blerd.
Hey.
So this week I want to talk about something called the Avogant glyph. So what we're hearing a lot about in the news right now is virtual reality. So the Oculus Rift, that Samsung thing, I don't even remember what it's called. Google Cardboard, which is a cardboard version of virtual reality using your phone and just a cardboard box, which is actually kind of cool. But we also had things a couple years ago like Google Glass that sort of had a lot of news about them and then just fell off the face of the earth because they were so impractical and so expensive and it didn't make any sense. What we have now with Avogant Glyph is it's actually a personal media player. It's more like Google Glass than it is like Oculus Rift, although it kind of bridges the gap between the two. So what it is it looks like a pair of headphones, like overhead headphones that instead of the headband going over the top of your head, it goes across your eyes. And inside it, there are no screen. It's not a screen or anything. Instead of a screen, what it's doing is actually projecting an image directly into your eyes. So it's instead of watching like a movie or a TV show, whatever, which is what you can do with this device, it's kind of like seeing it in front of you in real life, the way that you see things in day to day. But the other cool thing about it is that it doesn't shut you out completely from the world. You can, if you look up or down above the band, you're right there. You're still in the world. So it's just kind of like adding to the world around you without taking away, what you're enjoying.
Yeah.
One of the really cool things that's being done with it right now is connecting it to drones. So what you're doing is seeing what the drones are seeing in the air. And it's just like flying right there. It's about the closest thing we're gonna get to like Superman without like a hang glider or a plane.
Oh my god.
So I don't know. I think that's pretty cool. It's still brand new. Just became available to the public. I think the end of January. Here's the problem with it. It is $699.
Woo! I thought another 1,000 was gonna be added on top of that. So
no. So it's not as bad as it could have been.
Mm-hmm.
And the technology inside it, like I said, it's projecting an image directly into your eyes instead of showing you just a screen. Because of the technology inside it, it warrants the price totally.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, the reality is that people don't care about what kind of technology is inside it. People want it to work for a price that they can afford, and that's just not happening right now.
No, but I will say the name of it made me think it was an item that Tom Cruise had to steal in the next Mission Impossible movie.
To me, it sounds like Final Fantasy something. I don't know.
Avogant Glyph.
To me, it sounds like a type of like clothing like avant-garde, avant-garde.
Oh yes, I would wear that so fast.
I would too.
No, it's really cool. It looks so futuristic. I urge anyone to just go check it out. It looks futuristic. It seems futuristic. The technology is cool. Haven't tried it out yet, but everyone who has had a hands-on with it said that it works exactly as you expect. And I really want to try it out, and I really want this kind of tech to become like the norm. Now that we have wearables like the Apple Watch and Android Wear, and we have Google Glass, sort of, that still exists. It's just crazy expensive, and nobody's going to buy it because that's dumb. So I'm looking forward to what comes of this kind of technology in the future. It has huge implications with the military and even just consumers and everything.
Nice. I definitely want to check that out.
Yeah, me too. That's cool. So, now we can move on to our save point. This will be our video game news and reviews of the week. I guess I can start first. I kind of wanted to get into this really cool company that not company, but website I used to go to when I was a kid, called Game Trailers. They recently closed down. They've been open for 13 years. To me, it was like my go-to place to find any, obviously, game trailers at the site. So they were in HD quality. They had these really cool sections, and they had a really cool community forum that I would like kind of put like my music and if I remixed a video game song in there too. My favorite thing about them though is that they had other people that were in the industry or just like other smaller parts, and they put in their own user content for videos up. For instance, there was this artist named Monty I'll call him an artist because what he did was pure art. He would create these video series where he would take video game franchises and make them fight each other. The first one he had was Haloid. It had Samus from Metroid Prime. If you guys don't know who that is, if you ever play Smash Brothers, there's a character who looks like a robot and their B moves charges up a big blast, and you would shoot it the entire time if you were 12. And she had her versus Master Chief from Halo. So the fight scenes were really cool. They did it all, and it's cool because I mean it's small. Like 2 people created it, and they built up for this long. And obviously with the current industry of how video game news is processed and given out, it sucks that its demise had to come that way. But I just wanted to go into that a bit.
I just wanted to shout out that they also did an amazing video starring 2 of my favorite things, Final Fantasy characters and K-pop. They completely animated the choreography from one of the most famous K-pop songs of all time. It's called G by Girls' Generation, and it starred all of the most famous Final Fantasy female characters, and it is amazing. I don't even like the song that much. It's the poppiest, borderline annoying thing ever, but the fact that it exists is just everything.
That's cool. I mean, I guess one of my experiences of game trailers was I remember being a kid and having dial-up modem AOL and having to I remember Troy would come over and we would set up a video game trailer, and it would take an hour and go off and play a video game, go back, check it, it's halfway done, and then go back to playing it. But that was my go-to source for seeing Kingdom Hearts 2. I was a big fan of that. So it's definitely sad that Game Trailers is going.
Yes, unfortunate, but no, thank you, Game Trailers as well. Thank you, you guys. You built my childhood and made me realize I'm not going to be able to afford these games now that I'm 12. But thank you regardless of that. So, next news, you guys, really cool thing happening this year. No Assassin's Creed for 2016.
No, I don't care.
It's really, seriously, thank you, Ubisoft. I think they have a lot on their plate because they put a bunch of money into the Division this year, and now they're no Assassin's Creed. So now that means we're getting 2 Assassin's Creed games in 2017. I'm kidding.
Yes.
Here are my thoughts on that. It is the Assassin's Creed that came out last year. I don't even remember which one it was because I think another one came out after that was a little bit better. The one that came out that was atrocious is an absolute embarrassment, and it followed a long line of absolute embarrassments from Ubisoft. And I just think they really need to take a step back, stop trying to rush out these annual things, and just make good games again.
Yes, please.
Yeah, I think Ubisoft has had this kind of penchant for kind of franchises when they work and then drilling them to death, Prince of Persia. So I think this is a good step for them to take a break, calm down, reassess, and to come back with it.
That's cool, cool. Yeah, so I mean, take your time, Ubisoft.
Think about it.
We don't need an Assassin's Creed game right now. You guys, yeah, we're good on that. Please, just chill out. Yeah.
So I guess up next is Super Smash Brothers news. The final like DLC downloadable characters will pretty much be Bayonetta and Corrin. Bayonetta of her own game.
Woo!
When playing when playing her, I know that she's very swift, making quick attacks before your opponent can react is a very high possibility. She has these long range attacks, which make up for, to me, what can be sometimes her cumbersome controls. Her jump is actually very impressive because you can use like 2 up B moves in succession, which is a rarity in this game. To me personally, like Bayonetta wasn't as comfortable. I wasn't as comfortable playing with her as I was with Cloud. Like I'm not as good at like linking moves. They've been a bit of a challenge, but it is good to like rack up the air attacks with her. Her final smash is also really cool, the Infernal Climax, which turns the battle into like Witch Time, which is pretty much this bullet time slow down motion where you have to fill up this meter by attacking opponents, and then when it's full, yeah, the demon Gamora is summoned and viciously bites the characters that you attack. Corrin, he is from Fire Emblem series. I found him much easier to play with, I think probably because I'm a big fan of the swordsman, Link, yes. Roy, Marth, all those guys. His air attacks are super effective, so the majority of time I'm like throwing people up in the air and slashing upwards, doing mid-range attacks as well. His jab is actually really awesome, and it's one of my favorite points because I tend to rack up damage points with quick attacks, and then when their damage is high, that's when I start doing like the crazy smash attacks. His B projectile is probably my main issue. It's kind of like Zero Suit Samus's, only with more range. The issue is that it's super slow, so it's very evadable. And then for his final smash attack, he drives his sword into the ground, creating this large energy field, which will transport any opponents into it, this nearby area, and then it turns into a dragon, and then launches a whirl of water onto his opponents. So he is a character that I'm very fond of. Also, honorable mentions to Cloud, who, like, when they released him, I played for like a solid week, like nobody else, just Cloud.
Oh, me too.
Yeah, I really love his moveset. I guess my only downside is his jump is kind of lacking, but when you power him up, his jump, he can make it back onto the board. But being able to power up and then to do the smash attacks will almost like instantaneously knock the person off the board. He's also very quick, and of course his final smash is the Omni Slash, where he slashes his opponent up into the air and attacks them multiple times before delivering a devastating final blow. So yeah, so those are the honorable mentions for the Smash Brothers DLC.
Yeah, 2 things really quick. One, I definitely wrote down that you're not good at linking attacks, and I am definitely using that against you.
No. I said with Bayonetta.
Okay.
So Bayonetta.
Okay. Clear.
And no other characters, only her.
Yeah. And once I get accustomed to her, you will see me link attacks. Okay. We've battled since Super Smash Bros. 64, so you know that I'm good at linking.
I know you are. I was like, my top was like, I got to make sure I'm better than Ethan. That's and then the second thing, I swear, I think I enjoyed, because I've been playing them all week, I enjoyed Corrin a bit more than Bayonetta.
Me too.
Bayonetta, you definitely will have to take time and figure her out, but I think I kind of like Corrin a bit more.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, what's that?
So, for me, all right, 2 things. Huge fan of Cloud. Huge fan of Bayonetta. No, absolutely nothing about Corrin. Cloud completely changed. To be honest with you, Cloud completely changed Smash for me. Ever since 64, 64, I was just like not even functional. I could float with Kirby, and that is it. Melee, I learned how to use moves. I got to be sort of okay after years and years and years. Brawl, I got a little bit better, and then with Super Smash Brothers for Wii U, I finally kind of came into myself, figured out what works for me. Still wasn't super great though, and then I found Cloud, and he's so much fun. His entire moveset is dead accurate from Final Fantasy VII. I could not be happier with what Nintendo and especially Sakurai did. I'm so impressed with just his entire moveset is spot on. I don't even usually like sword fighters, but he's just a lot of fun, and I think it's because I have more of a personal connection with him. Bayonetta, I'm a little disappointed about because I'm such a big fan of her character. I'm not enjoying playing with her. I can tell that her moveset is super effective in the right hands. My hands are not the right hands. And there's something about her that I sort of feel bored playing as her, to be honest with you. I think I'm missing the endless combos that she had from her game. She does combo really well in Smash, but just the absolute endlessness of her combos is missed. Corrin I enjoy a lot more, but I'm just kind of so-so on him also.
Cool. Okay, so yeah, Smash Brothers reveal. Thank you for that.
Sure. All right. My favorite video game story. It's actually sort of a movie story. Somebody at Sony Pictures decided that we need a Sonic the Hedgehog movie that is a hybrid of animation and live action, a la Space Jam or Who Framed Roger Rabbit, for example. I don't know who's responsible for this lunacy, but it is supposedly happening. I don't support it. I am going to watch it because I love Sonic, but I am going to be mad about it the whole time. Unless we get a great song like Space Jam.
I just want them to do
Welcome to the Space Jam.
I want it to be Sonic the Hedgehog. Here's your chance. Collect your ring with the hedgehog.
Or we could at least can we at least get the song from Sonic Adventure?
Oh my gosh,
which is one of my favorite games ever. Something.
The Dreamcast era Sonic songs were the best.
Yes,
easy.
I know.
Easy.
Remember the what is it? The ruins? I forget what the ruins are called now. But with that jingling sound, whatever in the background. I don't know. I love it. It's good music. Let's just take the music from that and just play it over like a montage of the game and make that the movie. I'm fine with that.
Mega Rock is like the best genre. Just so we're all
clear. Yeah.
Cool.
I'll say okay for now.
Yeah, I guess my opinions about the Sony Sonic animated movie is I don't have any. I'm so I don't know what it's going to look like, how I'm going to feel, what they're going to do. I guess I'm somewhat fascinated, in a strange way. But aside from that, I don't know what they're thinking. I literally don't know. So this should be interesting.
Okay.
Yeah. So I guess we'll move on to graphic novel must-reads, where we pick out the graphic novels where you must read. There's no negotiation. This is not a democracy. This is a dictatorship.
I mean, we'll see.
Okay, I guess. So up on deck first is Swamp Thing #1, Raise Them Bones by Scott Snyder, artist Yannick Paquette. Swamp Thing follows Dr. Alec Holland, a botanist and biochemist who is killed then resurrected as the supernatural creature called Swamp Thing. The immortal spirits who guide the green are a force that unites all plant life. They use a host for their protector, Swamp Thing, and they've chosen Alec as their current one. When Alec awoke from his death, he had memories of his life as the Swamp Thing. Alec no longer wants to become the Swamp Thing, but the green urges Alec to do so with the impending threat of the rot, which is the antithesis of the green. So I would like to start off that Scott Snyder, he is a amazing writer. He had, the Batman series, post New 52. That was when I was going through my very depressive state, in that like the New 52 canceled out the majority of the Fantastic stories post Crisis on Infinite Earths. So I was not a fan of most of the changes because they felt arbitrary. But Scott Snyder did a fantastic job of mixing the old with something new without taking away the heart of the character of Batman. And I definitely get the same sensibilities that he has here. Like, he has this really great knack for small touches. Like, he will mention like the restorative properties of cabbage, or like how the pink wildflower can cause arthritis. And of course, our main character, Alec, would know this because he is a botanist slash biochemist. And so how he relates that to his interpersonal perspective of the character is one of my favorite aspects, because these are the small things that bring characters to life for me. This isn't just a guy who's going around going, I don't want to be the Swamp Thing. Like, this is a guy who has a connection to plant life, and yet he does not want to become this monster, which is truly understandable. The story was very strong. I definitely felt for the character as he's, being forced back into this life which he does not want to inhabit. And then he meets this girl named Abigail Arcane, who's kind of this representative of the Rot, which is who he's kind of supposed to fight against, but she's kind of on the other side now, and they're on this mission to stop her brother, who's actually, or her half-brother, who's like this super strong kid who's so connected to the Rot, but if they use his powers for bad, he has the possibility of creating damnation on Earth. The good Yannick does a fantastic job with the supernatural. His splash pages are wondrous, and it transports you to the world of greenery and savagery that is Swamp Thing. Love the characters, love the story. I guess if I have to say if there's any flaw, sometimes Alec can sound like a record player in that he kind of keeps complaining about not wanting to become the Swamp Thing, and it can be repetitive. At the same time, it's realistic, because he wouldn't just jump back into being this monster knowing that he becomes hideous and he can possibly die as this creature. But overall, it's a great story. Scott Snyder is easily one of the best writers that DC has right now, so definitely check it out.
Cool. That sounds really fascinating, actually.
Yeah, it is, and this isn't a title that I would normally go for, just because I'm more of a fan of the superhero capes and tights, that style. Mm-hmm. But I've heard Swamp Thing ever since I was a child, and my brother would collect comic books, but Teen Titans and Young Justice and Batman, Superman, those always spoke to me more. But considering that Scott Snyder was a part of this, and knowing that kind of the lore and the prestige that the Swamp Thing name has, I decided to give it a shot, and it was definitely worth it.
Yeah, I mean, I like Swamp Thing. It's just funny because like through the years, every time I see him, the black in me is like, I really want some collard greens right now.
I mean, they're good, so
y'all should try it out. Yes, thank you, Ethan, for our graphic novel. Read of the week. Definitely check that out, you guys. Please, Barnes & Noble. Check it out. If you want to sponsor us, Barnes & Noble, that'd be cool. All right.
Local comic book stores as well. Support them.
Please. Yes,
absolutely.
Please.
Absolutely.
Having a physical copy of a comic book is the dopest thing ever. And I'm not just saying that because I have a bookshelf filled of them. Okay.
I read most of mine on my phone, and when I have a physical one, it's such a different experience.
Yeah.
You just chill and drink stuff. Okay. So, all right. So now on to Sound Waves, which will be our music portion of the podcast, showcasing an artist, album, or song. I took the honor of going first this week. I wanted to get into, no surprise, Batman v Superman recently revealed the second song from this. Well, a second song from their soundtrack. They released another one earlier based on Superman. This one's actually based off of. For Batman's theme, it's called Men Are Still Good. Men Are Still Good. Okay, the cool thing about this is that Hans Zimmer is actually is the main composer for the thing, but he actually grabbed Junkie XL because he didn't want to redo a Batman theme. He did all the Batman themes for the original Batman, the Nolan Batman movies, and he was like, I don't want to reapproach that. I wanted a fresh take on it so we can get it as far away from those movies and make it seem like it's a new Batman. So they got Junkie XL, who also had an amazing soundtrack for the Mad Max Fury Road this past year. If you guys need to check it out, you want to just sit and chill. If you want to drive, if you want to drive to something, although it might make me want to get into an accident.
Don't speed. Don't have road rage. I have road rage. Don't do it.
Yes.
Mad Max Fury Road is
guitar on the back of your truck.
but yeah, check it out. I mean, check it out. It's actually a good thing. Actually, I'm going to pull a mulligan. I'm going to play a short clip from it. Here we go. I'm kidding. That's a Prince Batman thing from the 80s. To this day, I cannot believe they allowed Prince to make a song called Bat Dance.
Why not? What do you mean? This is Prince.
I can believe.
It's so good, the video. But yes, that's my my sound wave of the week.
Nice. All right, I'm next up. This week I went with a super cool band called Caravan Palace. And specifically, I want to talk about a song called Lone Digger. But first of all, I want to talk about Caravan Palace themselves. They're a French band who does a genre that very few people know and that very few artists exist in. It's called electro swing. It is a sort of a merger of electronic music of today with swing music from the 1930s and 40s. It's a really unusual sound. It's a lot of fun. It's really high energy. But it feels very authentic to the time if technology had progressed in a different way. I chose Lone Digger because it is extremely representative of the band's music as a whole. Like I said, it's very high energy. I just have a lot of fun listening to it, and maybe the most importantly to me, this band makes really cool videos, very unique videos for every one of their songs. Usually there's some sort of animation component, and usually with some kind of robot influence or animal influence. I also want to shout out their album title is called, for this most recent album, is called Robot Face, but instead of writing out Robot Face, they actually drew it out in characters like the
That's cool.
like zeros and underscores and stuff like that. It's actually super hard to search for. So, yeah, that's it. That's Caravan Palace, Lone Digger.
Well, so my band is called Nightmare of You. They're probably my favorite band ever. I found them kind of during like the mid-2000s era of emo, but they aren't emo, despite their song titles sounding very dramatically emo. They actually have a really interesting indie pop new wave sound, which like beckons back to like the Smiths era of music. Also, the lyrics to me are what speak to me the most. There's a sense of morbidity, but there's like beauty that's paired with it. I'm like a fan of poetry from Edgar Allan Poe, which is kind of dark, but if you really like read between the lines, there's such beauty in them. And then you mix that with like a danceable beat, and then you have Nightmare of You. The lead singer, to me, he's honestly one of the best lyricists, like lyric writers that I feel like I've ever heard, just because he has a way of being grandiose without it feeling like he's trying to build himself up to sound a certain way. He's very kind of anti-establishment, but not in an in-your-face way. So it to me is the best of both worlds. Like you can get up and dance to these songs, but if you just want to like sit down and listen to it, and you'll realize how like dark and heartbreaking it is, and that's like my favorite kind of balance. It's that duality that I feel like Nightmare of You has. If you want a song that kind of encapsulates that, I would recommend I Want to Be Buried in Your Backyard. This was the first song that I heard from them, and literally like it just moves me. There's something so beautifully tragic about it that it just compels you and takes you into the world of Nightmare of You.
Nice.
I would say maybe if you look up the title, "I Want to Be Buried in Your Backyard," make sure you have a full plan of what you're gonna do out in the week. Because if something happens to you and your recent search history is "I want to be buried in your backyard,"
You know,
make
I
sure.
have that same issue when I look up the TV show How to Get Away with Murder. I'm always nervous about, like, I don't know how this is gonna look.
That's my thing. Like as a writer, like I have to look up things. Sometimes I'm like, I hope the NSA is not like, like how can you kill the most people most efficiently? Clearly not. And then type
Right.
in, this is for a writing project.
Well, thank you. That is our sound waves of the week. Please feel free to check those out at your leisure. And now for Netflix and Kill.
Bang, bang, bang.
Reviews of recent movies and TV of the week. And Sean, as you wanted to go over this week's Flash.
Sure. So first I want to give like a super quick, not complete synopsis of the show, just the things that I enjoyed.
Okay.
So this most recent episode was the Earth 2 episode. They finally go to Earth 2. So basically, Barry and Cisco head to Earth 2 with Wells to save his daughter from Dr. Zoom. This has been hinted at for a long time, basically since the pretty much the beginning of the season. Once they get there, Barry decides to switch places with his doppelganger, who is super nerdy and super awkward. Barry accidentally falls in love with his entire Earth 2 equivalent family against Wells' advice. As a result of that, Doppelganger Joe, which is Iris's father, is killed. Doppelganger Iris is a hardcore police officer. Doppel Cisco is evil. And maybe my favorite part, for some dumb reason, I can't even explain this, probably something to do with Young Justice, we find out how Caitlin Snow actually ends up becoming Killer Frost. She exists as this character on Earth 2.
Yes.
At the end of the episode, we find out that Barry has been locked up with Wells' daughter. Doppel Cisco was killed, and Caitlin was the only one left to survive of the Earth 2 doppelgangers.
Awesome. Yeah, this is one of my favorite episodes. Like, might be my favorite episode of this season, honestly.
I agree.
I just have this thing where Flash loves to like wait until the second part of the season to be like, "Hey, we're the best hero show on earth.
Don't
You
forget."
better believe it." Yeah, watch. It was so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the episode too. I mean, the previous episode when Barry mentions going to Earth 2, I like fangasmed. Like it was like, oh, they're doing this. Like I just love these comic book things that are coming to life on television. It's just an amazing time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like to me, Flash is 1-to-1 the best like comic book show taking it like I could see like the panels that they shoot in a comic book. As
Yeah.
everyone else.
I agree.
Flash does that the best.
Definitely.
Yeah. Just to reference back to the previous section, the music. The reason I actually chose the electro swing genre with Caravan Palace is specifically because of this episode of
really?
Flash. Earth 2 is such a wonderful representation of that music. It is like, let's take 2016 or whatever year it is in the show. Let's decide we're going to progress these parts of technology and these parts of fashion and these parts of design, and let's combine it with just a totally separate part that we never really got past. We got stuck in the 30s or 40s as far as fashion and things like that. And it's just such a cool combination, and it just really works for me. It really makes Earth 2 feel distinctly different from our own Earth, and it's a really fun representation of the world. I don't know, like I said several times, I don't know a lot about the DC universe. I don't know what Earth 2 is supposed to look like, but I love this representation.
That was really cool.
Yeah, I liked that aspect of Earth 2 as well. I like that you definitely felt a difference going into it. Like it did not feel like Earth 1. It didn't feel like exactly parallel. It had these little touches that really separated it.
Mm-hmm.
So on to mine, Legends of Tomorrow. I'll kind of be summarizing the past 4 episodes or the show as a whole. The premise is Time Master Rip Hunter travels back in time to the present day where he brings together a team of heroes and villains in an attempt to prevent Vandal Savage from destroying the world and time itself. So I think this series started off really well. It's about 4 episodes in. I think coming off of Flash, they have the system built, and now they are just kind of replaying it. And this is DC's first team-based show on the air. The cast has, to me, a really great chemistry, and I'm loving all the individual stories and how they relate to each other. For example, Professor Martin Stein was a previous professor to Ray Palmer, who plays the Atom. So things like that really give this show more dimension. I'm also a sucker for team things in general. You know, even from Arrow's team of Black Canary and Speedy and John Diggle. The same thing with Flash and his team at Star Labs, and so to have a show that's specifically for a team is quite amazing to have. I have to give credit to Arthur Darvill, who plays Rip Hunter. I'm a big fan of Doctor Who, and he is an amazing actor because I watched his seasons on Doctor Who where he played Rory, who's kind of like this bumbling boyfriend. And I had seen the Legends of Tomorrow trailer like many times, and it wasn't until I actually like watched the episode where I'm like, wait a minute, that's the same guy from Doctor Who. But like he's playing such a different character in such a convincing way that I'm super impressed by him. White Canary, she is the recently resurrected sister of Laurel Lance that you'll know from Arrow. Her fighting, like I would watch this show specifically for her fighting. I feel like the writer's room is just like, how can we get White Canary to beat up the most amount of people per episode? And I'm on board for it because it's amazing. Jefferson Jax, he plays half of Firestorm, next to Professor Martin Stein. I'm liking how they built his story in Flash, kind of how he had this injury, then worked as an auto mechanic, and so I'm really looking for his story to be fleshed out a bit more. I think that the previous episode did that with how he feels towards having to leave his mother, which I feel like is a very big plot point that I'm glad that they are addressing, because so many other characters have these deep personal connections, and Jefferson's has been a bit lacking. So I'm glad that that has been a focus. Kendra Saunders' Hawkgirl, she is easily becoming one of my favorites. I'm just loving that we I guess saw Hawkman and Hawkgirl together on the show, and how powerful they are, and the connection between them and Vandal Savage, who they are having to root out throughout time to destroy. That aspect is really fascinating. So as a whole, I would definitely, I wouldn't be able to rank it right now in terms of like, you know, Supergirl, Flash, Arrow, just because it just started and I feel like it's still just getting its legs, but it started off very strong, and I feel like with each episode they're getting more dynamics together, they're getting stronger as a team, and the story is being fleshed out. So I definitely recommend a watch.
I have some thoughts on that. First of all, like you said, I'm loving the team aspect. I am a huge X-Men fan, as I've said several times already. So I love any time there is like a like a team-up situation. I always think that's a lot of fun, a lot of potential for different power combos and things like that. Sarah Lance is awesome. Loving her. She's probably, to me, she's the standout character on the show.
Yeah.
I'm actually happy to see Hawkman go. I think he was holding back Hawkgirl a little bit. I think she has a lot of potential to become a great character in the DC TV universe, and I think that I don't think that he was quite on the same level. Not only the actor's performance, because I do think that was not on the same level, but also just it felt like her story was his story, and his story was her story, rather than it just being her story. And that's what I want to learn about. I have a problem with Kronos. That one bad guy. He looks a little bit like a Power Rangers villain to me. And for that reason, I think occasionally First, I'm really liking Legends of Tomorrow. But I think occasionally it comes off a tiny bit cheesy. Um, there's a few like overacting sections that I think are just examples of the show trying to figure out what it's going to be, and I think it's on a good path. But Snart and Vandal Savage to me are a little bit overdone at times right now, um, and I'm hoping that they kind of balance that out as the show goes forward.
Yeah, it took me a little while to get on board with Captain Cold when he first appeared on Flash. Fan of Wentworth Miller, who's the actor. It felt a bit too actory, like I'm talking like this, you know.
Right.
And so because of that, it didn't feel natural. I think that's somewhat his acting choice less the choice of the show, and so I'm somewhat on board with it now. I definitely agree with the Hawkman point, and I liked his death. Not really for acting reasons, definitely for the storytelling reasons of me preferring Hawkgirl over Hawkman and not really feeling like they needed to go down this path, but that they needed to kind of have their separate paths, and then if they came together, that would be great. But their stories definitely were feeling too entwined. And then also I feel like it set the tone by killing off a major character who you assumed, you know, that he would make it. Of course, he'll be reincarnated in the next thing, so blah blah blah. But just the fact that the show went ahead with it, killing him off so early, I think was really cool for them to do to give it that sense of reality, because it is a bit more of a fun show, and as you mentioned, kind of uh, uh, not taken too seriously, which it should be, because it's not Power Rangers. It's in the same field as Flash, where you have, you know, Death and Zoom and Arrow, you know, which has lots of dark moments. So
The entire third season.
yes, that whole season. So I'm glad for Hawkman's death on many levels.
Cool. Okay, and our last bit of information
Is the biggest thing that we have to talk about all day.
Okay. What's next, huh?
Deadpool!
Who?
To be honest with you, a lot of people are going to say that this weekend,
Yeah.
and then they're going to have their lives change when they walk out of the theater.
Yes, exactly.
So, first of all, Deadpool kicks off the biggest superhero movie year of all time. Really interesting choice to kick it off because he is so fundamentally different from all other or most other superheroes. I can't say all. Quick synopsis of Deadpool. He actually started out as a shameless ripoff of Deathstroke from the DC universe. In fact, his real name is Wade Wilson. Deathstroke's real name is Slade Wilson. They have very similar costumes. They have very similar fighting styles. They have very similar jobs. That sort of shows you what kind of a character Deadpool is. He's a complete joke, and he knows it. One of his powers is literally awareness that he is a comic book character. He breaks the fourth wall all the time. And he's just a fun guy. He's not really a superhero. He's not a bad guy. He just kind of does what he wants to do, whatever feels like the right thing to do to him at the time. That probably won't line up with what you or I think is the right thing to do at the time. But anyway, so we got this movie, Deadpool. Been waiting for it for years. We got an atrocious representation of him in the X-Men Origins Wolverine movie. It was a complete joke. It was nothing even remotely close to the character, and I can't fathom why they even included the character other than because Ryan Reynolds wanted to do it. And from what I've heard, he was really unhappy with how they handled it, which is a big part of why this movie happened. And I'm so glad it did. For me, it was funny when it was supposed to be. It was vulgar. It was firmly R-rated. Don't take your kids to see it, and if you do, just know what you're getting into. There was a woman who took her son to see it in the theater that I went to see it in, and as they were walking out, she said, "Let's get out of here. I'm pissed right now," is what she said.
It's rated R.
Right. Just know what you're getting yourself into, but know that it has to be that thing in order for it to be Deadpool. It can't be PG-13. They can't kind of get close to the vulgar jokes. Yes, it was sexist sometimes because Deadpool is sexist. You're not really supposed to like when he does these things. It's just him. He's charming in a way that is so off-putting that you can't help but enjoy him. I'm trying super hard to avoid spoilers right now. Because there was so much that happened. There was a really fantastic portrayal of a character who did not exist in the form that they did in the comics at all, and they just really did a good job with the movie.
Awesome.
Thoughts on the greatest movie of all time as of today?
I'll go first.
Except for my cousin Vinny.
Oh my gosh. It made me think of the stuttering scene. Okay, so I'll go first. I didn't get that much on Legends. Yeah, no, dope shot. I will say yes. It is a rated R movie in all senses of the word. I mean, yes, you had the lady that walked out with her kid. I lived in Middletown, where people don't care, and there was literally 5 kids in my theater, and the parents were just chilling watching them thing. And there's a couple things in that movie where I would not feel comfortable with my child watching. But hey, not a parent. Just saying, don't take your kids to this.
My dad would have taken me, but that's my dad. That's
yes,
not a
exactly.
normal situation.
I'm not even comfortable seeing this with my mom. Like I'm not. No, don't take your kids to it. But no, overall it was very dope. Like he's such a different character, like from compared to any other ones that you've seen, and the things that he's able to do in this movie are so unique and so fresh that it honestly wasn't like it's like if you compare it to. It would be stupid to compare it to other superhero movies. Like it's nothing like anything else. So I really enjoyed it. Once again, this is I said it before. I said it again. This is the year of the best superhero movies we will have. It's 2016. Marking on the date. We got a great Deadpool movie, and I'm thankful.
Yeah, I definitely enjoyed the film. I did not know very much about Deadpool aside from like kind of the basic facts. I'd seen memes. I definitely got a sense of who the character was in terms of being aware of the fourth wall. So I knew in a sense what I was getting into. I didn't know his background and his origin story. I'm definitely a fan of the way that they handled the time lapse situation of. I don't want to spoil it, but their use of that time device was really good, and I feel like it kept me involved without it feeling like a boring origin story. Of course, it's not boring because it's Deadpool, but yeah, the comedy was great, the action was great. If I had to say like one kind of negativish thing, it's not like a full one. I mean, like I'm a big fan of Ryan Reynolds. I feel like his type of comedy is super hard to pull off. He started from Van Wilder, which could have easily been like this like annoying, kind of teen movie, but because of his delivery, he made it palpable, and that's the same thing with this character. Like you can't go wrong with Ryan Reynolds and Deadpool. Like it was a perfect match. Loved Marina Baccarin. She was fantastic. The whole cast was really on point. And it's not really like a negative comment. Really, it's just that like going into it, I got exactly what I expected to, which isn't like a negative thing. It's just saying like I saw what was coming, but I still enjoyed it.
Right. I can agree with that. There definitely weren't any surprises, and I actually think that's a problem that superhero movies have had consistently. Just not a lot of surprises. But overall, I was really happy with the movie. I completely agree with what you said, Dale.
I will say something that caught me by surprise is, and this is the only movie that could do this, is I really enjoyed Colossus in that movie. Like for the first time ever. I was like, yo, Colossus is actually a really cool character. And
that was a good representation of him too, because you don't in the previous movies he was just like kind of like a meathead. Colossus has a personality that is completely at odds with his outer appearance.
Exactly.
And that's what I've always loved about him.
Yeah.
So it was overall, yes, 10 out of 10 for me. Great start to this movie. Yeah,
also, shout out to Ryan Reynolds. This movie was made for him. He was made for this movie. His entire career has led up to this, and I'm really looking forward to what he makes of this character in the future.
Yeah, to be honest, I can't see anybody else but Ryan Reynolds playing this character.
He's about to get so many Oscars, you guys. I'm kidding.
No, he won't. He'll get some MTV movie
He'll
awards.
definitely get some MTV movie awards. Deadpool is definitely showing up at the
Teen
MTV
Choice.
Teen Choice, yeah.
Okay, and now for our final section of this lovely issue, Bout of the Bloods! Okay. Each week we will ask a question that we will fight over to the death of epic proportions. It's a fun little thing that we're going to do. Hope you guys enjoy it. For this week's question, I had the pleasure of creating it. Recently, during the pre-Super Bowl, a commercial was revealed by Turkish Airlines, a sponsor for Batman v Superman, greatest movie of all time. In said commercial, they revealed that their airlines have opened up their flights reach, now with tickets to Gotham and Metropolis. My question is, in the cinematic universe where Zod destroyed half of Metropolis 8 months ago, and Batman hasn't been Batman for a few years, which gives free reign to any new enemies that want to run amok in the streets, where would you prefer to fly, Gotham or Metropolis?
So for this question, there's a lot of contingencies in my head. I feel like if I have to go out as regular Ethan, I'm probably going to choose Metropolis, just because yes, Zod destroyed half of Metropolis, but I feel like the likelihood of there being regular everyday street crime is much lower. Now, if I were to go out as a vigilante, I would choose Gotham, because I would want to team up with Batman and to take out muggers. So it depends on the scenario.
You're regular Ethan.
Okay, Metropolis.
Okay, cool. Sean, go ahead.
Man, Gotham. Are you kidding? Gotham. Listen, this is a city that needs superheroes without powers. Metropolis is a city that needs the strongest superhero, or one of the strongest superheroes in the DC universe, in order to function. They have enemies powerful enough to destroy the world. Gotham has some guys with bombs and smoke and gas. And I mean, Gotham's also just really cool. All the nightlife. I don't even go out. What am I talking about? But if I were to go out, if I were to decide to go out, I just think Gotham would be a lot of fun to go out in. Now,
sorry. Well, every time that you go out, there's going to be the Riddler popping up. Guess what, folks? I'm here.
Listen. I live in Baltimore. There's already a lot of street crime. This is just the life that I know. I live in the suburbs. Side note, I don't know anything about that life. But I did drive through the part of Baltimore that takes place in The Wire a couple times, and it was super scary. So
that's fun.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. So if you see these commercials, which I'm definitely going to put descriptions in the link to see these commercials. I don't know. I think I'd risk living in Gotham because, man, every time I think of Man of Steel, I just think of that scene when the girl was trapped under all the rubble, and Lawrence Fishburne and the other white dude were trying to push her out, and they had the moment where okay, we're about to die, and they just had to look at each other, and I never want that moment in my life. I never want to be here, it's gonna be okay. Hold my hand. We're just about to get blasted by the Kamehameha out the sky. So I choose. I choose Gotham. I mean, if anything, it might motivate me to just pick up get a suit and try and be a thing. Although,
absolutely.
As soon as I get cut, I turn into a 5-year-old. Please, I'm sorry. That'd be cool.
I'll tell you everything.
I just wanted to learn parkour. If you just all right. So yeah. I mean, any other rebuttals? Because I'm forgotten.
I mean, yeah. Even if I were to be a vigilante or superhero or whatever, I would still want to live in Gotham because I've always imagined myself as a superhero without actual powers. Like I said, I'm all tech. I want tech-based stuff.
Yes.
I just think that would be awesome, and I would be screwed in Metropolis. I can't do anything. I'm gonna look like freaking Oliver Queen.
So
yeah. I mean, same here, pretty much. The reason why I kind of chose Metropolis is because I feel like the general populace is probably good. Where I feel 99% of Gotham will be out to kill you.
And you know what? That's actually fair. The people seem really nice in Metropolis.
Yeah. And there's a few monsters here and there. There's Metallo, but it's Superman has super hearing, So, like Batman has a bat signal. He has to like get up, get into his suit, get into his drive over there.
Yeah, but we have the Bat family, man. Like we have others. It's not just him.
They have to do the same thing, and I'm gonna do. I'm taking longer, probably.
All right.
I'll call the Flash, man.
There you go.
He'll be there in no time.
So, okay, so regular Sean, regular me, and comic book Ethan will go to Gotham. Regular Ethan would chill in Metropolis. Cool. And final bouts. All right, cool.
Good times, everybody.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we did it, guys. We did it. This is Blerd Culture signing off. I just want to mention we are spelled Blerd, B-L-E-R-D, Culture, C-U-L-T-U-R-E. Just like nerd with a BL in front of it and vulture with a C in front of it. Just want to know if you want to follow us and keep us up to date. We're on Twitter, Tumblr, YouTube, Instagram, Friendster, MySpace. If you just look up Blerd Culture, it's that for everything. We got very.
Are we on Zynga or?
We still working with Zynga.
Live channel.
AOL chat rooms exclusive.
Arts and entertainment. Anybody?
But yes, we will be back. Our first issue number 1, will premiere on March 13th. We want to thank you folks for listening, and yeah, I mean, did you guys want to say anything else?
Yes. Quick shout out. I forgot to mention another place where I am a nerd is Harry Potter. I am a huge Harry Potter fan. It was just announced that the play will be getting a novelization that is coming out this summer, and I can't wait.
Awesome. Ethan?
No, I mean, I'm a nerd of a ton of things as well, but I will probably get to those in future episodes.
Got you. And final note, I just kind of want to add this. Hey, you guys, go watch Young Justice Season 2 on Netflix. He just put it on there. If you watch it, they might bring it back. Anyway, love you guys.
And don't wait for 2 years like Troy did to finish it because he was sad.
Anyway, this is us signing off. Happy Valentine's Day, and catch y'all later.
Bye.
Later.
You're all beautiful.